Great, welcome all you curious ND people. This is the last event for neurodiversity in Albertopolis for this year. And so we've put together something which we hope we know is going to be really special, and I'm beyond excited. So I'm going to pass over to Qona to do all the right introductions.
Thanks, Sara. So that was Sara Rankin from Imperial College, and I'm Qona Rankin, the Dyslexia Coordinator at the Royal College of Art. And welcome to this session. And I feel that although 2021 has been a tough year, there's still cause for celebration, which is why I'm wearing my celebratory light up beads. Firstly, yesterday on the Nikki Campbell show on Radio 5, it was announced that Matt Hancock, who's dyslexic, expects all MPs to ensure that all pupils in England are being screened for dyslexia before they start secondary school in September 2022. Hooray. The other cause for celebration is the chance to listen to our two amazing speakers today, Jim Rokos and Kristjana Williams. I first met Jim around 10 years ago. Not only is he an outstanding designer, but he's also been extremely supportive of the dyslexia events I've organised at the RCA. Some of you might have seen the exhibition Dyslexic Design in 2016, which Jim curated and which Christiana, our other speaker, lent some work for. Jim first met Christiana in 2006 when she managed Beyond the Valley, which stocked Jim's cat food bowl with pedal and lid. They also collaborated on a double-sided mirror, which was exclusive to the shop. Sadly, unlike Jim, who has a Christiana print on his wall at home, I don't. But I did have a wonderful experience at the VNA's exhibition, Alice, Curiouser and Curiouser, for which Christiana was part of the curatorial team. Christiana also designed the exhibition book, extensive shop range, and the VR experience. And I'm so excited to have an hour in the company of these two amazing designers who also happen to be dyslexic. So sit back and enjoy our event. And if you have any questions, do please put them in the chat. And hopefully there'll be time to discuss some of them towards the end. If you want to pin KSW, the KSW screen, now is a good time to do that. And then once we've entered through the keyhole, you might then later on want to pin the Wonderland screen. So I'm now going.
How do we pin? What do you mean pin?
There are three little dots on the right-hand side of every screen, of every, little rectangle. And the fourth one down is add pin. Fourth one down. Yeah, got it. Add pin. And that makes them come big. And so now over to Jim.
Hi. Hi. Christiana, hi.
How are you?
I'm a little nervous. Yeah, how are you?
Really good. Yeah. So good to see you.
You too. Will you show us around your studio?
Yes, I'd absolutely love to. I love your hat.
Thanks very much. Outfit. Is it too much?
It's super cool.
Thanks very much.
My taste. Yes, so this is my studio. We are based in London, in between Brentford and Chiswick, just on the roundabout. So yes, I am a collage artist. So I work a lot in digitally as well as 3D. I really love textile things as well. So there's quite a few textile stuff as well. And yes, do limited edition prints, three-dimensional artwork, so a lot of personal commissions, a lot of commercial commissions. And yeah, so kind of right mix of everything, like how my brain is. Yeah. So yes, if you want to walk through, this is kind of in progress, this area here. So we haven't organized all of our books or anything, but this piece here at the end is a piece that was developed for the Qona Hotel. So this is just the print of it, but it was a large piece. And yes, it kind of conveyed the spirit of the hotel, the different restaurants in the area, their vast art collection, and they have a really wonderful old history. So yes, so that was 2016.
Wow. All of with their masks, all the animals
Yes.
wearing their headdresses and
Yeah. So sometimes my animals are fully masked.
yes.
Sometimes it all depends on the project. People used to always ask if when you couldn't see their eyes, was there a kind of darkness to it?
Yeah.
But that was never the intention. But I think it was more like just nature elements magnetically kind of connecting with each other.
Yeah.
So yes. This one was for the Victorian Albert Museum, the Blue House of Frida Kahlo. This was a very limited edition diorama. So it's constructed like a paper theater. And if you look into it, you can see her cats, her monkeys, her hair grips, the chair that she used to paint in, and the mirror for her self-portraits, and all of the jewelry and the beauty that she brought to the world. And this is some of the softer things. In the VNA in 2011, after leaving Beyond the Valley, I did an experience there, which was part upholstery and part digital.
Mm-hmm.
So you could go into the collage and you could take it apart and recreate it. So I think what I really love about collage, it's like anybody who claims not to be creative, if you give them a collage material, they will create something amazing.
So was it a kit people could have?
No, it was actually an iPad.
Yes.
So you would have like the full-on forests and the masks and bees, and people would like, you could then wipe that completely clean, and then you could put on whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
And then you could upload that image onto the VNA site. Yeah.
Oh, very nice. Yeah.
I'll come and show you in here.
Yes.
So this is the original Coldplay piece.
Oh, yes.
So that one was
So
really a commercial mission.
So that was the album cover.
Yes.
And they've signed it.
Yeah, we did a few original pieces for charity.
Yeah.
And that was one of those. So I think we kept one because there were a lot of fingerprints on it.
Yeah, that was lovely. And that's is that gold leaf?
Yes,
Wow.
so that's gold leaf and then hand cut.
Yeah.
And then you can see Chris Martin there with cranberry vodka. He doesn't drink, but when he really is angry with himself, he has a vodka and cranberry.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting. Opposite to many.
So is that like a punishment for being angry at himself? Is it the hangover? Or? No.
I just assumed.
Yeah.
Hangover.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. This one. Oh yeah, that's the little piece with better to see it close up, but you can see all the different albums that they made and kind of also their journey. So there's water and day and night, like the different areas of like of the world that they live in. So yeah, that was a really fun piece to create. This is an example of a three-dimensional piece in progress.
I love the blue giraffes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they were kind of a species that I created in lockdown. So there was giraffes, there was tigers, but they were kind of, and the ostriches. So they were kind of not that I don't have faith in humanity, but the idea was like after all the humans had gone, like this new super species of animals had developed that could like have this amazing hearing, and the ostriches that could breathe underwater and go anywhere because we kind of left it in a bit of a state. So yeah, that's one of those.
Wow.
And
is there an ostrich in here?
No, that's the only one with that we were just working with.
Because the ostriches are underwater.
Yeah, well,
so
they actually have giraffe legs as well.
Yeah.
But yes, but the bases were also, I haven't got them here. Actually, the studio is actually quite bare of artwork at the moment because like everything's alone. If you come here back in February, it would be completely covered.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I will come back.
You have to come back.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, and this is some of the limited edition prints. This one is another lockdown piece, which was about touch. Sorry. So it's kind of like after we'd all been locked up for ages. So that in the roots, you can see the heart and the music.
Oh yeah.
And spring and flowers and just kind of that connecting.
And the flowers are touching each other.
Yeah.
And they've got eyes and lips.
Yes. For the first time. So that was quite a lockdown was a very creative time. How was it for you?
Yeah, the last thing I did before lockdown, I decided I was going to make a candle holder, which I'm going to show you.
Amazing.
And the last thing I did was I ran out and I bought some candles so that when I was locked in, I could do a design around that shape.
Oh,
I'll show you. Shall I show you?
Yes,
Yeah,
I'd love to see.
So yeah, this was the candle that I ran out and bought. So I thought I'll do an exact candle holder around that shape and size. I'm gonna try and light it. I don't know if you want to hold it. I don't want to set fire to your work.
Sorry?
Yeah, is it all right? Yeah. All right. All right. Should put my glasses on. Okay, that's lit. Okay. Let's put that out. I'm supposed to do that. And then we drop that in there. So that floats down a little bit. My glasses on, so see what. That's good. So I might have got my maths wrong. I think I have got my maths wrong, but we'll see. So the idea is that you can measure the amount of water you put in, which will decide how high it floats within the holder, and that will decide how long it burns for before it goes out. So I've set it to 45 minutes, I thought, which is when the questions and answers can start. But I'm wondering if that's less than 45 minutes because it is floating very high. But we'll see. If it goes out early, we'll just carry on. We won't let people ask questions yet. Yeah.
Amazing.
We'll see what happens. So yeah, if there's less water, the candle's lower. Yeah. This section holds the candle rigid.
Oh, that's wonderful.
As it gets shorter, that will reach this part and it's no longer held. So that's when it will fall over and time's up.
Does it just automatically find its way into the setting? Or do you just, when you put it in, does it just go and fit into that setting?
Yeah, I had to sort of get it in that bit, and it floats. It's sort of like an iceberg. It's like a tiny bit floats above the water and then most of it's below the water. And the proportion of above the water candle and below the water candle stays the same. So as the top will shrink just a little bit and then the bottom will disappear a lot, I hope.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, that's not, I just love the way you think about things. I was just thinking about the mirror we created. Yeah. Yeah.
I tried to find it. I've got one at home. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. So.
You should have asked me. I have them at home.
I was in such a mad dash. It was sort of, you know, 10 minutes after I was supposed to have set off, I gave up. Yeah. So Christiana's made us some builder's tea. So do we switch to this one now? Is that better?
Yes. Yeah. Maybe we can sit down.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to take.
So are we? And then how do we? Oh, that's it. We're on the main one. Yeah, I think you can switch that off now. Can you still hear us? There's no way of them. Yeah, Qona. Yeah, thumbs up from Qona. Good. Perfect. Right. So yeah, we've got our builder's tea. Cheers.
Cheers.
And now yeah.
Oh.
When I was trying to think of questions and it was very confusing. So it was like all these questions were in my head to ask you. So I kind of made a model of it. Okay. So if you reach inside my head, all the questions are there, you can fish them out. Okay. It might be a little bit out of sequence, like in Pulp Fiction film, but I think he might have been dyslexic as well. So everything's fine. Yeah. So that if you can get the lid off and find a question. And there's plenty. So
one at a time?
I don't know. Do you want? We can do 3. We'll, yeah, just to. No, let's do one at a time. Yeah. Okay. So this is dyslexia and business thinking.
Yes.
So yeah, I put them all in perfect order.
Yeah.
And then in my bag, the lid came off and it was upside down. Everything fell out. So never mind. So you handle the business side of being an artist very well.
Yes.
I think being a business manager for anybody is difficult.
Yes.
But you get famous dyslexics like Richard Branson and other people whose names I can't remember right now because I'm dyslexic, who are very good and natural. I'm just wondering if you feel it's helped you. And
I think it's definitely something that took a really long time to develop. And it's something that I still just realize with my brain that I get a bit wrong. And I feel like it's like I'm 47 now, or actually now on the 20th of December. But I feel like I'm just like finally getting it together in a way, just like, because I think my nature was always very much to like try everything. There was just like so many ideas and I couldn't really completely control what was in my head. And I feel like there's a lot of the criticism that I also got when I was younger. I was like, you know, trying too many, what did they say? You know, when you just have too many, they said, if you don't focus, you won't get anywhere. So that was like, it's always felt like that was quite a big, yeah. But I feel like the business, I'll never stop learning it.
Yeah.
And I feel like actually it's been my gift and it's been my kind of downfall on the way. So like by trying everything, I now have a very multifaceted business. So I do the artist commission, I do like the prints, the 3Ds, so the interior, the globes, the commercial commission. So there's like, and often when one thing hasn't been working out, like another thing has taken it, like especially in lockdown, for an example.
Yes.
You know, when the VNA closed, which is like one of my biggest stockists, and all the galleries, the art shows, which is like a part of the lifeblood of what we do. Is I feel like, yeah, I can't remember what I was going to say.
So what took over through lockdown as the helping the business?
So
because you've also got a responsibility for a lot of members of staff who you've got to keep in work. Ideally, I don't know if it's possible. But,
no, it was really hard during lockdown, and I think for me, I always knew there was kind of like a number of people that I was comfortable with, like comfortable handling. And I thought, if I go over this number, I don't know how I will feel. And then I realized I did go over that number and I realized my brain couldn't handle it.
Okay.
So that was really interesting. And I feel like actually what happened in lockdown, which gave us kind of the calm and the peace to have a really good look at everything that was going on in detail. Yeah. So business-wise, it's been good.
Yeah.
I just read some books because like being that quiet, I could really see like a few things that I was really doing wrong that I kind of just have been fixing this year. Yeah. So you feel even without lockdown, the business is as large as you want it to be? Yes, and it's gone a bit small. Well, actually it's grown, but like the team has gone smaller, but we're happier. Yeah. Yes. Should we pick another noodle? Another noodle. Yeah. Don't know. How? So these are the bits of paper I've got in my hat. How did the world of Beyond the Valley come to life? Yeah, so Beyond the Valley was after when we were finishing art college, Central St. Martin's. I got together with 2 other friends and we felt like where we were exhibiting, there's just like, there wasn't really much, I mean, that's 2003. So there wasn't much teaching about like business and accounting and, you know, all frazzled art students. That's actually when I learned, when I was dyslexic, when I joined Central St. Martin's. I know that's one of your questions actually. Yeah. But, oh no, I took it out, but it's good you remembered it. No, that's perfect. So what year of university so I think that was about, so I think when, I think it was in my first year and it was just like a really lovely environment because I remember like my dad saying to me, you just always spell your own name wrong. So that was just like, and that was just kind of quite a funny thing for the time, but then it wasn't until like I was 20, because wasn't sure about the art, so I didn't go to college. I was 25, so I was 26 when I found out. And that's when in Santa St. Martin's, like the teacher just turned around to me and said, well, probably 70 or 80% of the kids here are. So when I went for the testing, I still didn't quite believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, but then it was so much made sense after I got the diagnosis.
What did your tutor pick up on that made you a contender for being dyslexic?
I don't know.
No, I remember how
probably just
I discovered you were
Yes.
dyslexic because when I did the exhibition, I had to discover designers who are dyslexic. Oh, we've switched window. Look, is that all right? Or are we? Maybe Qona, maybe they can hear us anyway. Yeah, I had to discover. Yeah, we're okay, Qona. Yeah, we're okay. Oh, good. Okay, it just looked funny on ours. I had to discover designers who are dyslexic, which is very difficult because you don't know. So I had to look for dyslexic attributes. But I already remembered you were dyslexic because when we were talking at Beyond the Valley, I said I can't remember what it was. I was apologising. I was probably late because I'm always late for everything. Yes, like the rabbit, of course, who is clearly dyslexic. And I said, I'm really sorry, I'm dyslexic. And you said, oh, tell me about it. And that's how we knew. And that is probably 15 years ago.
God. Yeah, another question. Oh, yes. How did Beyond the Valley come to life?
Yeah.
Yes. So after discovering that, finishing Santa St. Martin's, not being taught much about accounting or invoicing or how to make art into the business at the time, we decided three of us girls start to do this pop-up alongside the exhibition. So we got a license from Shaftesbury to run one of the first pop-ups I think there ever were in London. And we had 3 units, and we, advertising, graphic design, and art and illustration, and it just went really well. And we condensed it into one store, and then got a permission to get like another free unit, because the idea at the beginning, it was just very much to support the artist. And the idea was that you could show your very, very fine art piece, but make a few pieces that you can sell for a bit less as well. So just kind of tying that commercial. And so, yeah, but did that for 7 years.
Yeah.
So possibly, no, it was a great study.
And that was your crash course in business.
Yes.
Yeah.
We never made a single penny in there. That was like, but we got like the Cool Brands Award, we got Telegraph Award, the best boutique, and all of these things. But we just, took a long time to figure out how to make money.
What did you do before it was a graphic design degree?
Yes.
And you started at 25.
Yes.
Do I ask what you did before? Were you in Iceland or London?
So I actually studied low voltage electronic.
Yes.
So I really wanted to, that kind of made sense. I was just curious about the components.
Yeah.
But I wasn't very good at math, but I really wanted to make a little pirate radio station, which I did. But then to advance in the low voltage electronic things, if you wanted to get to the next stage and go to the big technical college, they were just like, your math, just your brain is not for that.
Yeah.
But so that's when I realized maybe the foundation of art and design would be the way forward.
Can you tell us about your pirate radio station?
Yes. So that was just a fascination over, I think that's like comes back to the craft thing as well.
Yeah.
Working with Victorian engraving, working with the globe makers, working with textiles. I just love. So with the like circuit boards,
yes,
just how they link together, and the plus and the minuses and the resistors and the capacitors, and like their little colors, they just like felt like jewels to me. And pirate radio station, if it's not very powerful, it's quite simple to make.
Yeah. And what would, so were you DJing as well?
Well, I literally think we did it for like a couple of weekends, but I think for me, it was more to make it.
Yes, okay. Wow. So glasses.
Big question.
It is, isn't it? Okay, I'm wondering what it is like for the animals in your worlds. What is their experience? Is it all one universe, or are there different laws between the worlds? It's a longer question, this. Shall I
I've never been asked that
No,
question, but
shall I
my
carry on and see?
immediate gut instinct is multiverse.
Multiverse,
yes,
yes,
definitely. I feel like you enter in,
yeah.
and then actually it's like we started creating like an experiential game in the studio, which is going to be like a sensory thing, but it's that's still. But I realized as we were going through it's a little bit how, though my brain isn't that organized, but just I definitely see lots of different worlds.
Yes.
And sometimes they are kind of made from scratch, but I feel like if they were all lined in a multiverse, you would kind of see them and you could easily travel between them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know yet how you travel between the worlds, or is that to come?
I think definitely just by like, you could close your eyes and you could just like use universal power just to kind of swift between them. Yeah. Yeah.
And of course, the electronics interest, that's, I guess, came back into play when you did the virtual reality experience, the VNA. I sent Curiosa just now. Yeah. I didn't manage to see it. I went with my nephew and we're very, he's very quick to go through an exhibition and I'm very slow. He can't believe that I would spend 2 hours. Yeah. He spends, I think his ideal was 20 minutes and I managed to stretch into 30, but the queue for your work was already 30 minutes, so we couldn't see it. Oh, but, yes. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And
yes, I feel like that's just somewhere where I feel very comfortable, but clearly I don't have like the deep knowledge, but I very much can see it in the theatre and the traveling and like the structure. So I feel like that's something like in the very beginning when I left Beyond the Valley, our first exhibition with the VNA was with on these digital tablets where you could physically kind of take, or like digitally take apart the 3D and put it back together again. So I was interested in the application and just, yes, I don't know what draws it to me. It's quite natural, but I think the same as paper theatre, like walking through it, and the same probably as what I feel about my art, just like the journey. I'm not always like, I don't always know what I've created. Sometimes it comes to me completely back to front, which actually made me always feel very incompetent because I was just felt like, but I'm not that person. And I used to get in so much trouble for it at Centre Matter. They were so irritated with me because I couldn't write that thesis of what does this all mean. And to be honest, I wasn't quite sure at the time. I just produced a lot of work and that.
Yeah, intuitively.
Yes,
without.
Yes. So, and often now I can see it comes together as a whole.
Yes.
But a lot of it is about, some of them are exploring history, some of them are just purely emotional, and some of them are, but I can always like read that from the feedback I get from people that have the pieces or see them.
Yeah. Oh, so people will notice things that you haven't known about consciously, which, because when we create, a lot of it is unconscious, I think.
Yes.
You get really people talking about it's as though the hand of God is directing them, but you know, I would interpret that as their unconscious, which is why it feels like it's someone else.
I like that description. I should call you on a Monday morning when I'm feeling unsure about things.
I don't know if we need the rest of this. Are the pictures a snapshot of a typical day? Or is there a story of a particular event happening in the world in a picture?
Interesting question. I think immediately what comes into my head is like, it's something, maybe it is a snapshot, but I'm always looking at like that you're traveling through it and that you're able to go through the end. So it is a journey through it rather than a stop.
Yes.
And I feel like, and I did try that at the Beyond the Valley to do this 3-dimensional animation where you could walk through the forest, but I didn't have the money to do that. The company, it was just like, again, another pull to the electronic thing, but yes, I have a tiny little snapshot of the ink forest where it's doing exactly that. Yeah. Very interesting question.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the one I've got on my wall, which has got some bees flying through a landscape and these lions that they've each got at least 3 or 4 faces.
Oh yes, you have the Purpura of Alice, a really early piece.
Yeah, yes. And I really enjoy it, but now I'm gonna look at it from the perspective of the bees now and what else they're going to see as they
kind of travel
fly into my living room.
Yes. I feel like the many eyes and the many mouths is just like what I feel about that is often is just the exaggerated senses.
Yes.
So, yes. So I feel like that happens not that often, but I do that quite a bit. It's in the Qona piece as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like you can see or hear or feel a lot.
Yeah. Who's got extra ears or eyes in the Qona piece?
So in the Qona piece, so Helena de Rose, which is like a 3-star Michelin chef. And she's quite a feisty woman, but she's amazing. Her dad was the chef in France, and he had got 5 sons in her. I think she was the least expected to kind of go down that route. I think she's possibly similar age to me or a bit older, but I think at that time. And I think, yes, but she is this incredible chef. So she is there, but she is growing out of, like, there's tigers growing out of these flowers, and they have kind of exaggerated noses and eyes. So it's just, but it's blooming. So that's just her sense, how she works and how she creates. So that has the many faces and the many extended noses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because dogs, I've got a dog this year. Yes. My brother gifted me a lockdown dog, which I'm enjoying, but she's got this incredible sense of smell.
Yes.
So yeah, in your picture, she would have many noses or an extended nose.
Is that the first pet you've had?
No, I've had cats before, but my nephew, the same nephew, is allergic to cats. So once that cat passed, I could have a dog instead, and it's my first dog. It's a Springer Spaniel. It's the wrong dog to have as a first dog. It's massively energetic. I didn't bring it today, which was a good decision. Wrong dog for London as well. Too much energy, but we're managing. Yeah, I'm enjoying her.
I'd love to have a dog.
Yeah, we were talking about this. You can borrow her.
Yes, we'll come and look after her.
Yeah. Right. Well, they're not going on very well.
Should I fish in a couple more questions?
Oh, sure. Yeah, we should. This goes on.
Oh, there's more.
Well, there is, but we could leave it and go on to something else.
Just get a few. I like those questions.
Yeah. One. I don't know if this is good or not. We could do it or skip it. How might you explain the story of a picture, one of your pictures, to a blind person?
Oh.
Should we look at that, or should
God, I've just never thought of that.
No.
I think immediately, I would just go in and describe, like, I'd probably start with describing like the ground, and I would start describing like the growth, and I would describe like then the flowers. So I think I would describe it how I would make it.
Yes.
So like first, it has to be a really solid setting. We're going to the Qona again, I think we saw that. So that's in Mayfair, and it has these 2 amazing oak trees. So I created the piece in this kind of little snug valley. So, and they had these harps. So there's these little flying harps. So I created like this little world out of all the different engravings. So I would describe that world, and I describe like the animals, and I describe the flowers and the objects and the glass dome and why that's there. So yeah, I could go on forever. That would probably be quite painful in the end.
Oh no, for a blind person or anybody, it would be incredible. Yeah. But we've got more noodles here.
Yes.
I printed them really big. Maybe I don't need my glasses. I can, need them the right way up. What are you most excited about coming up in 2022 or the future?
Oh, the future. I'm excited about Alice in Wonderland is traveling abroad.
Oh, where's it going to go to?
So I think it's going to go to Korea, Japan, and China.
Wow.
That's super exciting. So yes, and
under the umbrella of the VNA.
Yeah.
Have they done that before too?
Yeah. I think it's one of those when they do well, they travel. So that's really exciting. Did it, of course. It's all over. So that's really lovely too, because it's been a really big project for it not just to end and go away. So that feels really precious. But then a lot of the work. Will you go to any of the shows? If I possibly can, I probably will. Yes. But similar to like with Fordham and Mason, sometimes a project comes and lasts for a year, but that ended up lasting for 5 years. Yes. But in the very beginning, we did like the windows and the products, and then it kind of continued after that.
Yeah. Have you got one handy that you can show? Yeah. Oh yeah. So we can. So what's in these? These are Fortnum and Mason's.
There were, I think, over 300 products.
Yeah.
They were.
But this is caramel biscuits.
Biscuits, yeah. That is also a music box.
Oh right.
But yeah, but they were
the tin.
calendars and bags and chocolate and
Oh, so the music is from the tin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, so I'm working on a few new commercial commissions that have come up that I can't talk about just yet. So, but to be honest, I really love being in the studio, and we've just creating like the 3-dimensional work. I think just coming to the studio, coming to work is what I feel really grateful for.
Yeah.
I think never 100% sure what's coming next. I can never remember. That's like if people ask me, who's your favorite designer? Who's your favorite artist? Like anything apart from like this scenario where we're chatting.
Yeah.
You should come into the light and just be
where's the light?
I think it's a little bit more here so we can see you.
It's the hat, isn't it? It's fine. Yeah.
And,
it's I can be in darkness. Yeah.
I think, yes, that thinking about dyslexia, I think maybe that's the one place where I feel really insecure, is often that I feel like I can't get to my memories quickly enough. Yeah. Like they're there, but it's like they're all floating on the top of the ocean and like I know it, but I just can't get to it. Yes. And especially if I'm under pressure. So then
specifically, do you mean people's names or other things?
I think it's like a little bit of everything. So it's like, so for an example, what's your favorite piece of music, or who's your favorite artist? And all of those like on and it's just,
what did you do yesterday? What did you do this morning? I'm like blank. You know, for anyone else it's a normal question, they just know what they did, but for me I've got no idea, and I have to as you say, it's on the, you know, it's floating on the sea, it's just how to get it.
Yes. And everybody says, oh, I know that, everybody does that, and I'm like, you don't know how deep this goes for me. So I think like that's the one thing that you could only appreciate when you speak to somebody else that's dyslexic. It's just like, but there's nothing there, and like your other half like starts to kind of learn to live with you, love that about you, but it's
I
interesting.
read a technique in a book for remembering names. Yeah. Because they say there's a very small window for memorizing the name in the conversation, because you've actually also got to listen to what the conversation is as well. Yeah. Although in the book it said that was less important. It said, grab the name. It said, if you know another person called Christiana, which I don't, take their face in your mind, superimpose it on the person's face that you're talking to. And then when you have to remember the name, you'll see the other person's name who you know, and then you'll grab it. But
that's interesting.
Tricky. Yeah. Yes. There was someone on Zoom who was called Jay the other day. Yeah. And he had headphones and a microphone, which kind of made a J shape. So I thought that's him. And there was an Amy with a mask, and her mask was making an A for Amy. Oh, that's so they're tricky, and sometimes they get very convoluted, and you're like thinking of you know, mask, and you're like apparatus, and you're like, they're not called apparatus, you know, breathing apparatus. You just, you know, it can really.
It's that location thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm much more optimistic about this candle now. It's still going. So I thought my maths is, it just, So I think it could, I don't know if anyone times it, but it might.
How does it work? How do you know how much water to measure in relation to how the candle works?
I've done a graph with water quantity along the bottom and candle burn time along the side. And it's got a line. So you choose how long you want it to burn for, find that time on the side, and then follow it along to where it meets the line of the graph. Go down and it tells you the quantity. I think it's in grams of water or milliliters. I think it's the same. Yeah. They just, and so I weigh the water for the time and then hope for the best. Yeah, but it seems, it's, maybe it's not burning fast enough after all that. I don't know, but
I think it's spot on.
Oh, this is a good one. Okay. What would you be doing if you weren't be doing your current work as you are now? So had you gone into something else? Yes. Do you know what it?
So I think after trying the electronics, I think I don't think there would have been anything else.
No.
And I think if I would have just done this very unsuccessfully, I probably would have never stopped trying.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have kind of gone into anything else.
Yeah. So you mean it would always be this, or you'd be a pirate radio floating around the sea of Iceland broadcasting?
I think mostly just, I think because I used to do art all the time when I was little. Yeah. So I think it would have just always come back to that. I think creativity finds you. You can't really. Yeah. So something along those lines. Yeah.
Oh, let's get that one. That's shorter. I don't know if this is a good one. It's probably so obvious to you. There's nothing to say because it's. Can you talk about how you learned to work with colour? So for me, I'm quite nervous of colour.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yes. I saw that question. I thought it was really interesting.
Good.
Lots of interesting questions.
Yeah.
And I feel like, so colour just is very instinctual. I don't really have to think about it. Yeah. That's the same as almost creating the work. I could probably, like my big worry is that I'll die and I don't get to create everything that's coming out of my head. But now I'm all realised it's just always going to be in that flow, and that's fine. But the color and the magnetic kind of nature thing, that just, if I think I'm running out of ideas, that just like I already build up like next year of like different things I'd like to do. Yeah. There's always like a piece of A4 paper, just like if you can see that one on the left there. That's just like immediate ideas that I will probably go to next that have already been formed.
Can I bring it? Yeah. And what's the magnetic thing?
Oh, so
or is this all confidential? Yeah.
No,
I thought,
this is just.
So this is lots of ideas that.
So one of them is. I was talking to my other half about Star Wars and Boba Fett, and I was thinking about how he would look like as a deer. And then I was thinking about a VNA World Map, which would be having all the different sections of the VNA in like different locations where the different treasures have been found.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. So you could look around the museum online.
No, this is more like a physical kind of just art piece. And I've been doing lots of things with books lately. And actually they're just full of pictures. I actually opened them. And so, but I think libraries are so beautiful. And so I want to do something. I've been looking at libraries around the world. And there's some outrageous, incredible libraries around the world. So diorama libraries commissioned by the VNA to do a diorama about their art library.
Yeah, sorry, what's a diorama again?
Oh, so a diorama is... Elena will
get one for us.
So diorama is like a paper theatre.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then...
With the...
so it has like a foreground.
Yeah.
This one is... I don't know, it's not always best to see in...
No, it looks good. Yeah, we can see that.
You can see, like, so that's a diorama.
Yes.
A middle, a back, 2 or 3 middles.
Yeah.
And,
that's right. So it's got the same print, but cut out in different ways to give it the depth.
Yes, it's almost like, but it's like, it's quite good because it kind of breaks up how my brain works anyway. Yeah. And you see that path and that journey. So, Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, when I did this exhibition of dyslexic designers' work, I had to somehow discover who was dyslexic, and I would learn to spot dyslexic attributes in work.
Interesting.
And I would then say that's a contender, that person. Yeah. So in your book, the Alice in Wonderland book, I noticed a couple of examples of lateral thinking. Yeah. So we talked about the lion heads. So the many lion heads, I thought that was very lateral thinking.
Yes.
You know, just to give many faces and extra noses, which I now understand is the extra senses. In your book, you've got this mushroom dress.
Oh, yes. Should I get the book?
Yeah, or you stay and it's all the way. Oh. It's so it's I think there's a picture of a mushroom and a picture of Alice with her dress, but they kind of look the same. Alice. Yeah, book. Is that?
I suppose this one is a little bit like, so you have Alice as they're going down That's where Lewis Carroll wrote Alice. So this is in Oxford. So you can see Christ Church University there at the end, and then the boat, Three Sisters, and the books. So that one also has the, like that thing that you're talking about. I have the picture. Yeah, it's actually a really interesting example. I wouldn't have thought about that as anything.
Oh, it's very lateral. Yeah.
Really? What does... That's the mushrooms.
That's it, yeah. Oh, so it's both a mushroom and her dress at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
field.
this here. So there's a little mushroom. Yeah. And then there's the similar mushroom, but actually it's her legs and the, I don't know what they call them underneath mushrooms, but we've got the sporks. Stalks.
Yes, I think.
Stalks are the fabric of her dress as well.
Yeah. So that's where the caterpillar is smoking the hookah. Yes, that was about, these are the colors kind of Disney and like that just, again, something that kind of very naturally came.
Yeah. I found a quote you'd made.
Oh.
Yeah, with these wheelie chairs, I was drifting.
Yes.
Do you want to read it? Because it's your quote, or shall I read it? I'll read it, okay. My childhood in Iceland was spent looking away from the country and not really seeing. Which part of Iceland were you in? Was it Reykjavik or? Yeah,
Seltjarnarnes. So it's like Seltjarnarnes.
Yes.
So that's just like 7 minutes outside. It's like a little neighborhood of Reykjavik.
Yeah.
So
7 minutes. 7.
Yeah, it would, like if I took the bus into town, it would take me like 7.
So really close.
Yeah, and everything is quite small.
And it's a town.
Reykjavik, yes. It's
Reykjavik, but where you would, is it like
it's like a little, probably just a little
village, or it's
I
don't know,
tiny
part.
Iceland population of 350,000, so Reykjavik probably has like 200,000 max. So like you'd have the center, you have like Reykjavik, then you have Kópavogur and Seltjarnarnes and all these little towns, but it's all like, if you look at the map, it's just kind of this one cluster. I forgot where I was going with that. Spent looking away from the country and not really seeing what was there in Iceland. But when I look over my work, I can see that the very nature in Iceland is embedded in my work. The starkness of the black and white treatment of the engravings, looking to the frozen over sea and black sandy beaches. Yeah, I feel like as a child, clearly school wasn't very easy. And I feel like, because there was just so little known about dyslexia at the time. And I feel like, so I was good at art and I loved geography, not because I could remember any of the countries, but we got to draw world maps. And that was just something that I loved. And I feel like I wasn't that happy growing up because I was just a bit like, this is not my place. And it was just a bit like, whoa. And I was, loads of teenagers in Iceland are the same. They're like, take me off this island and somewhere exciting. And then I feel like, but I really loved, and having had moved away and like visiting Iceland again. Iceland is incredible. And it's just so, that quote is more about, it's just, I didn't realize how much of me was still in Iceland, even though I moved away when I was like 19, 20. So I've been more like 27 years here and 20 years in Iceland. And it's just like realizing Iceland is like, it's a place where nature is very much in charge, and like you really feel the power of nature when you're there, and that's very nourishing. And I feel like with that quote, even though everything that I make is slightly fantastical and a little bit, I just last year started creating more work about Iceland. Looking in, but that was kind of the I
think when they do sci-fi movies and they need it to look like another planet, they go to Iceland.
Absolutely, like Interstellar, and I loved and Star Wars, I think.
How cold does it get in Reykjavik?
So Iceland is protected by the Gulf Stream, so that kind of comes up, and so even if it's the northernmost capital of the world, like Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark all get much colder because but they also get like the really kind of quite warm summers, but really dramatic winters. Whereas Iceland, it can just be like, for a good day in Iceland in the summer is like 14 degrees. But but it still feels quite warm when it's 14, 15 degrees in Iceland.
Yeah.
So it is interesting.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
No. I just said how cold. How cold does it get?
Yes.
Minus 18 or is that?
No, not even that. So it will be like a really cold. Will be like minus 10.
Yeah.
But then you always, because we're on the coast, you can't really live inside of Iceland because it's just volcanoes and glaciers and stuff. And then when the wind blows, it's like it's just.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm English, so obviously I'm nice to talk about weather. But let's get another question that's not weather related.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love this. Oh, I see one here about our collaboration, which would be nice to talk about.
Yeah.
Should we talk about?
Yeah. What did Christiana and Jim collaborate on before?
Yes.
So this was when you were at Beyond the Valley and I had just graduated, and I was you were stocking my cat food bowl, and then
and you told me about the mirror idea.
Yes.
So I just thought it was absolutely incredible. I actually gutted not to have it.
Yeah, I tried to bring it.
And it was a mirror, as you should describe it, because it's your work.
So it's a sheet of perspex cut out into the shape of a mirror. Yeah. Inside that is a double-sided piece of mirror. Yeah. So when you look through each other to see each other's faces inside the perspex mirror, you get superimposed on the other person's face that you see your mouth. So it gives you the impression that when you're speaking, the other person is saying what you're saying. Yes. And it's double-sided. So when you speak to me, it's as though I'm saying what you're saying. So the idea was my degree project, it would help with empathy. But generally people just start laughing, which is fine.
Because you see, if I can explain a little bit more, what's so fascinating about it is like, when you look into the mirror, you can see your face, but with your partner's eyes or mouth. So you could either, so that's the design, so you could turn it up and down, hold it like that or hold it like that. And that's because with this idea, when you look through it, it's just so interesting because you can just see it perfectly. It's like just photoshopped, like the mouth or the eyes. It's very interesting, isn't it? It just doesn't, that's what I was amazed by. It's like how you've calculated like that perfect width that would just give it exactly that feel. I
think the mirror, from memory, the mirror is the same size as the mouth, and it just works. You have to have the equal distance.
Okay. What about the eyes? Because it works with the eyes as well.
That was your discovery. I was sort of less. It was less about eyes, but it became multi.
Yes.
And so what you did was you gave it a new shape. Yes. So you took a sort of like a crest of arms shield, Beyond the Valley crest, and surrealed it a little bit.
And it had these two handles, so it felt like
birds' tails. And that handle or those handles. And we overestimated the demand of double-sided mirrors, and I don't think we sold any, but fortunately we didn't produce any, so we were able to keep one each, which I forgot to bring.
Oh, brilliant. I have it at home.
Yeah, I just can't remember where I put it. How do you keep organized? So as a dyslexic myself, organization is very difficult. So I leave myself clues around the house that I'll discover at the correct time. Like if I'm going out somewhere and I need something, I'll hang on the door handle what I need to take with me.
Oh, amazing.
So
I think so that's really interesting, because I feel like it's a bit of a lucky dip, but as soon as I get to work, I'll write like a full sheet down of everything that's in front of me there and then. But then I will decide to do something, and I know it's in the diary and I've marked it and I've alarmed it, and it might still completely fall out of my head. And the girls in the studio are very used to me, like with how my head works. I feel like just getting older gives you more control. So I definitely feel like I can feel some neurological pathways just strengthening as I'm getting older. But I think I feel like sitting down at work and making those big lists, and they have to be there and then. I can just go through them. I can be like super efficient, and then But I think one of the reasons why I'm able, I think that's kind of maybe the gift of dyslexia, because I can choose to do all of the things, and I will say yes to all of the things, but I don't remember the pressure of any of them. So it's only when it comes to doing them. And sometimes I totally will just freak myself out because I have taken too much on. But normally it's always okay, because my brain doesn't really allow me to worry about the outcome of everything at the same time. So then often I have kind of said yes to too many things, but most of the time it allows me to do many, many things at the same time, because I'm not stressed about, my brain doesn't put me in the future. So that's, do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't have anxiety about the outcome so much until it's right there. Yeah. And I will maybe completely forget about it till it's kind of, yeah, I can't completely explain it, but I know it's like a gift that allows me to do many things.
I'm understanding that you are in the moment and everything outside that doesn't affect you. Is that?
Yes and no, but more like that. Yes, yeah. It's kind of like with my other half, he very much sees what's going to happen, what the outcome of this is. And a typical example was like, why don't we let the kids stay over? He said, but then that's like a 3-hour back and forth for us. And so something, because I was talking to him about like, and I was like, in my head, it was just like an hour to get there. But I'd forgotten to talk about like going in and then going home. And actually, so I would have said, yeah, go on, stay over. And then I spent half of Sunday just like getting them back. Just like, I'm really tired. But that will be the same with anything. But like, I do feel that, but that gives you fearlessness. Yes. But then I feel like as I'm getting older, I'm more seeing like the future. I didn't really experience time very well when I was younger, but I feel like that's something that I've learned much more. Yeah.
Will you sign my book?
Yes.
Yeah, we can do that after. So I've got this, I'll bring it. I've got this book of Kate and Kathy's with all the dyslexics in, which you're in.
Oh my God, I would also love to, me and Elena keep wanting to do a little story in the newsletter about that.
It's this one. Yeah. And there's
so lovely.
There's Christiana's page. So as I said, I shuffled all the questions, so this was meant to be at the bottom, and there's a pen in there as well, which we'll write, but we'll do that after. Yeah. What's this? This you've kind of talked about a little bit, actually. This is another quote.
Yeah.
I want to do everything. I get excited, so it becomes overwhelming. I think this first has held me back as much as it has pushed me forward.
Yes, I think that's what I was trying to talk about. So yeah, it's like, I think when I was much younger and not doing things very well, clearly I was just making loads of mistakes. The candle's gone out, look.
Yeah, that's good. And how far? I don't know if you're timing. What time is it?
What time is it? Oh my God, it's 2:06.
So
so it probably went out right at the time.
Let's pretend. Yeah, because I can't remember what time which is good.
It's amazing. Yeah. I absolutely love this. It's like the most much needed invention in the...
That was all the, you know, the smell you get when you put... So that, you can, I think, is there a...
Yes.
I put a pen in there. Yeah. No, we'll do that after. Should we Qona, should we carry on, or should we go to questions now?
Well, I was wondering, because I think people are going to have
to... I can't hear you yet, Qona.
How can we hear? Did we hear her earlier?
Oh,
why
do we need to unmute?
Can you hear me?
Maybe everyone else can hear you. Maybe it's just us. I'm not sure.
It's just us.
We think it's just us.
Or we can switch.
Should we switch your sound on and mute this? You're able to you've logged out. Right. But I don't know. It's that we've switched the sound off, isn't it, Qona, rather than.
I don't know.
Before we could.
Sarah, can you hear me?
Sarah, can you hear Qona?
I can hear Qona. Yeah.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, we've got.
So I think we should.
There we go.
We got it.
We turned the volume down.
Yeah, maybe we should have a few questions, have some time for some questions, but that was absolutely brilliant. It was so interesting. I love your hat, Jim. I want one.
Thanks very much.
And Christiana, what you were saying about fearlessness is really interesting, because I'm very interested in risk taking in terms of creativity and the role of risk taking, which dyslexic people have to do because there is very little certainty when you're at school. So you have to take risks, so you get good at taking risks. And I think risk taking makes a lot of neurotypical people feel uncomfortable. And I'm interested in thinking about fearlessness. It's sort of similar, isn't it, to risk taking in a way?
So interesting you saying that, just that link. I hadn't really completely thought that through, but that makes so much sense now that you say it. Like about how you've just always had to kind of wing it one way or another.
Exactly. But yeah, winging it's a good expression. Yeah. Sarah, have we got any questions?
Yeah, somebody asked about teamwork and earlier on, and I was thinking, do you work with other artists? So you say you've got this team of people.
Yeah.
Are you like Andy Warhol? Do they do bits of colouring for you, or?
Yes, absolutely. And I learned that at Beyond the Valley. So sorry, just butted in before you finished the question. But yes, so basically at Beyond the Valley, because we had like this store and a gallery, and we had like 100 different things. I think it comes also from collage. So I just realized from working from everybody there. So for an example, in 2011, when we were doing the VNA exhibition, I had to make these like 6 vast murals. And that was like, I think the first time where I just had to go like, I can't like this on my own. And we, so I started, we had like a little army of interns at the time, and they were all kind of quite weird. I had gone to college with them because it was kind of not-for-profit thing in the beginning. Sadly, it kind of remained that way, but, yes, so now in the studio, I feel like some of like my 2 top people that have been with me for the longest. So Susu, who's French Korean, it's like having a second brain. So in the beginning, it's a really huge process that it takes to get to that stage. But it's like, so you imagine like working on Skype, because I will need for each thing, like to create for Frida, the wheelchair, the brushes, and like find all the little monkeys, find the right cats, find like the blue house in Calo. So it's like a lot of it is just kind of collecting, researching, and just getting all of these things together. And then, so I will explain to her. So in the beginning, it would be like more like just the research. Then can you color it? Can we put this thing together? And now like we'll get a commercial commission in, and she will be just like my second brain. We'll sit down, we'll talk about it. So throughout like the 6 years that we've probably been together now, it's like, it's so fluid, it still surprises me. And then Elena, that's been with us now for a good while, probably 3-4 years, she's training in that as well, because nobody stays like maybe for like endless time. So
yeah,
I love it. I absolutely love it. And my work wouldn't be as rich without.
Yeah, I mean, I think the same in, well, I guess most practices.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly as a scientist, you know, you get to a point where you're the one doing the experiments, but then there comes a point where you're actually the one in the office, spending all your time writing the grants, having the ideas, discussing results. But it's a very, you know, it's a transition. You have to actually let go of the doing the experiments, and that's a very weird thing for most people. But also people go off and do the experiments, and I would always be a bit you know, when I was in that position, somebody would say, oh, do this, and I'd sort of do this, but then I'd do something completely different as well, because just like, that's really boring, but I'll do this as well. And that was, and I'd be showing results to my supervisor, and they're like, what, why have you done that? And it's like, well, you know, it just seemed really interesting, and look at the result, it is really interesting. But They get really annoyed, but in the same way I have, you know, people do go off and do their own things. So I guess, do you have that friction where, because you want to nurture that creativity and everything in people working with you?
Often I find that the best things, where you're just completely surprised. I love that. And I really encourage that, because I feel like I want them to be accomplished creators when they leave me and go to the other things. So it's important for me that they feel like that they're developing their own work as well as, you know, working with me. But I feel like, yes.
Well, because you don't want them to go off and be just replicating what you do. They've got to be have their own style. And
but that's really interesting about, like, in 2011 we did the VNA exhibition. Everybody was like, but why do you want to open up like all the details of how you work and put that in front of people? And just like, I've always felt very confident in that. Nobody wants to do exactly what I do. Everybody wants to do their own stuff. And that was amazing, because we had hundreds of people, and like these pregnant women would make the most darkest pieces, you know, like took all the flies and put them in the sky and like buried all the pineapples, and there was this other stuff. I just love seeing collage and people working with it. And
collage. We need Qona. We definitely need to have that collage workshop, because somebody did it with our medical students, use collage as a way of revision, and they loved it. Oh, so back to the questions.
There's a question from Shahid. Does the environment affect your work?
Yes, I'm really just hugely affected by nature, and more. So just like, I feel like also as you kind of grow, you realize how much it gives you. But I feel like people say, like, when you're in the city, you're just reflecting all the time. Whereas I feel like when you were just stuck in a forest, you would probably just be creating something really unique. That was just coming out of your brain, rather than like the millions of signals from the TV and like fashion and the energy of London. But I feel like I have kind of, and mine is so nature-based. So I suppose the city and the history pieces have really kind of drawn me in. But I feel like now, especially during lockdown, it's been more pieces inching towards like mental health and just feelings, and looking at what's kind of behind there, and everybody's kind of been more open. So it's, in the beginning, it was very much just about nature, never many humans, but Alice has kind of brought a few human elements.
So I've got a question for you both, and that's about your sort of creativity. When do you have specific times when you feel most creative? And that could be time of the day, or it could just be, you know, does it, because generally we also process, and processing information is really important, I think, with dyslexics, because you try and link lots of disparate things together. I think that's one of our strengths. And so there's a lot going on, and then suddenly it will all sort of slot together and you come up with a, you know, so like when you had your idea for your candle, how did it come to you in little bits, or was it a iterative process, or like an engineer? Or
I was watching the movie The Favourite in the cinema, so it meant I wasn't doing anything else, and it just gave me a moment to daydream. And there was lots of candles in that film, and I just decided I'm going to do a candle holder. So I started thinking about it while I was watching the film. I was already working in borosilicate, which is a great material for it, because they use it for chemistry apparatus. So, you know, there's no worries about the fire and the glass. And then I just started doing drawings. So it was relatively quick for me. It was like over maybe 3 or 4 months, I was doing just different shapes of what it could be. And one of the shapes I just clicked. I just sort of was looking at it and thinking about how pretty basic drawings, you know, just line drawings in 2D. But it just clicked that I was thinking how it would float and how it would get, the candle's going to get shorter. And I just noticed one day that the candle would fall over. It could fall over, and you could decide the moment at which it would fall over by the amount of water. And then at that point, that's really where it started to take a definite shape. So I'm, you know, because of the horrendous schooling, I don't have much self-confidence, which makes it difficult for me to make decisions. So my decisions are very logical, because, you know, there's no, if it's completely logical, there's no wrong about it. You know, that's the right thing to do. You know, it's not, this is why I find color difficult, because you can't logically say this is the right color. Although I've done a yellow candle holder as reference to my glasses of dyslexia. So, you know, there's a logical reason to it. And then after that point, because it had to behave like this and act as a timepiece, all of the dimensions took care of themselves. So there aren't really any decisions in that shape. So the top part has to be that wide so that the candle has space to fall over when it's at its maximum length, like if you've just been burning it for 2 minutes. And then the length of the tube at the bottom has to be that long so that if you want it to burn as long as possible, it goes all the way to the bottom. And the diameter of that tube is also essential so that it holds the candle snugly. And the opening has to be big enough to get your hand in, you know, to wash it. And
yeah, but it's an essence of great design, because it just looks like, why didn't we have that before? Because it's for me, it's the safety angle. It's the that's what appeal, you know, because
What was your question? Because you wanted.
It was about when ideas.
In the shower, when I'm not doing anything else.
Yeah.
It's otherwise I'm just doing emails and stuff and packing, and they just come. But yeah, because there's, my brain's free. It's, you know, doing a task that you don't think about, so the brain's free to daydream and also not really be bored at the same time. I think boredom's a bit of a creativity killer.
Yes, I think it's so interesting. It's quite scientific how your brain works. And I've always looked at Jim's designs. They're just extraordinary about the balance and gravity and how things work. Just incredible. But I'm much more erratic. So like I will ping from everywhere, and I have to pull that idea before it kind of goes. And if I haven't sometimes got it down in that minute, it'll be gone. Yeah. So I feel like for me, it's used to be like working into the night and then just like, so kind of a bit all the time. Whereas now I, though it goes all over the weekend and stuff, but I feel like I just pull them out of my head and I'll make a little note and I'll take it in. So there's not, it can be out running, eating, drinking. So it's random, very randomly.
Yeah. I find if I've got a backlog of ideas, I don't think of anything new. It's as though my brain knows you've already got too much to do, don't think of anything else. And then when I've finished enough things, then a new idea comes. So I've already got a queue at the moment, not thinking of anything.
I really like Des's comment that in the bath, ideas can float freely. Yeah. An image of lots of sort of sponges and around in the bath with ideas.
I was trying to redesign. What are these vases called? They're science. They were in your GCSE science at one point, weren't they? What is it? I kept thinking they're Archimedes, but they're not Archimedes. Archimedes was the bath thing. But this is similar, but you could have not a chandelier, candelabra. Candelabra.
Yeah.
That's the next piece, Jim. Candelabra, please.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
But a great question here. So, like, do you have any tips? This is from Alistair. Have any tips on how to avoid getting bored by a project? So yeah, I could completely identify about this. You've got all those ideas, and once you've got beyond the ideas stage, then you're actually committed to the graph stage. I know my answer to that, but yeah, interesting. Yeah, what's your
I get really bored. I just change activities. So I work from home, so I'll be at my computer. I sort of try and divide up jobs that are at the laptop and away from the laptop, so I can, it's best to catch it before you start getting bored or your brain starts to get tired. It's best to move away and change activity then. It's better than waiting till you start to feel it. It's more efficient, you can go back to it sooner. So I'll leave the emails and do the laundry, then I'll do some more on the computer, and then I'll water the plants, and then, you know, maybe the dog.
And I found that great about lockdown is we can, you know, I've been working much more from home, and so yeah, and I also find when you've had a really intense meeting where you are discussing lots of ideas, I need to go and like prepare dinner for the evening, because then I just can process that before I get into something else. What about Christiana? What's your, how do you not get bored with? Sounds like you've got do it by having a million things going on.
I think I don't think, if I get that feeling, I will just like shut off that project and go to something else. So, and I often like catch myself is just like, because sometimes you just look at something, you look at things 100 times and you just, then you know it's time just to put it away and come back again. Sometimes it's a day later and sometimes it's a month later, but I feel like that's the only way. But if I get frustrated with something, and yeah, so I think having more than one thing on go, definitely. But I do that a lot, skip between projects.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's good. I write my ideas down, I do a little drawing on a bit of paper, and then somebody will move it, and sometimes they don't show up for years, and I'll find something, I'll be like, I can work on that.
Yeah,
I've forgotten all about it.
Love that.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, interesting.
So, do you think we should bring things to a close?
Oh, probably, yes.
6:20.
Yes, definitely. Yes. So would you like to do that then, Qona?
Well, just to say thank you so much, both of you. It was just absolutely fascinating. And I think everyone who was there really enjoyed it. We've already had messages asking for the recording to go up. So we'll definitely do that. And you know, we must keep in touch, and wish you all the best of luck with all your projects, both of you in 22.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Oh, thanks very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah. No, thank you.
He's the one.
It's been fun.
Organised it.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, it's been great, and yeah, lots more to discuss at some point, and I'm sure lots more projects to be working on.